My name's Christiana Arango, better known online as Christiana Yvonne. I'm 26 years old and I'm a filmmaker from South Jersey. I made a feature-length film when I was 22 years old, fresh out of college at my very first big girl job on a super low budget, super independent with a whole bunch of amateurs on the cast and the crew. How did I do it? Well, I'm gonna tell you all about it. This is gonna be a series where I touch on how I made the movie, how I got the resources, how I got the crew, how I got the cast, how I had the confidence to go after something that seems like it's so huge when I was so small and had never done it before, had never even worked on another movie set before. I had only seen things online, BTS videos galore, and I was relying on my freelance experience that I had been doing since I started doing film when I was in about 7th grade. Now I have a long, pretty interesting story, if you ask me, about how I got into film, how I realized that I wanted to be a filmmaker, how what I did for college, how I got my first job in film, how I did freelance, how I ran my business, how I got my cast, how I trained up my crew. I will tell you everything, but it's a lot. So I'm gonna break it down into a few episodes, and this one is just gonna be the introduction on how I did a feature film. If you have any questions or anything that you wanna know specifically, please be sure to leave them in the comments below. I'm gonna tell you my do's and don'ts, the things that I learned, some funny stories along the way where I almost lost my marbles. And we're just gonna talk about all things film and hopefully build a community of like-minded individuals and creatives who are out there who wanna make films, who don't wanna just run to Hollywood and try to get on somebody else's film on a big production, but somebody who has an idea, who has a passion, who has the drive and a script, or even just an idea, and how to make that bridge come about and how to get your film from an idea to a product that you can show people. And before I go any further, everything I'm talking about today is based around my movie, Paper Gems, which you can watch for free at any time on Tubi. I'll even tell you how I got it on Tubi, how I got my movie distributed, how much money my movie's making, and just pretty much all the secrets, because I'm not a gatekeeper and I really just want to help like-minded individuals and just really build a community where we can come and ask questions, we can come and vent, we can come and tell funny stories, think back on our mistakes and think on how we can do things better and just all the things. So if any of that interests you, please stick around and watch to the end of this video and let me know what you thought in the comments below. So let's go ahead and get into it. When I was 22 years old, I was graduating from Rowan University in Glassboro, New Jersey, and I had been applying to jobs, trying to be ahead of the ball and have a job lined up for when I graduated college. At the same time, I live in New Jersey. At the time, there wasn't a lot of film opportunities in the area, even though now Netflix and MGM are building a studio here and there was a mass exodus and everything. At the time when I was 22, I'm 26 now, that wasn't happening. Now, growing up, I had been doing freelance since 7th grade when I picked up my first camera. No, I lied. I started doing film in 7th grade. I started doing freelance when I was about 18, to be exact. So from me doing freelance, I had built up my portfolio, my resume. I have a lot of experience, and I also did a few short films independent from school. Like, I just got my friends together. It was just me and my camera with a little mic, and we did the best we could. And those are on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in seeing some of my older short films, they're on my YouTube channel. And then I also have my feature film, which is what we're talking about today. That's called Paper Gems. That's on Tubi. And then a show that I filmed last summer, season 1, that's coming out this year, called Losing My Pride. Anyways, when I graduated college, I wanted to use all that experience plus the degree that I now have to get a job. 2 months in to me job hunting, I hadn't found anything. And then I got a call about coming to a church to see, what it would look like for me to go into media for a church. Now, I am a Christian. I love the Lord. I love Jesus. Grew up in church, love church, never don't have any church hurt to report on or anything like that. It wasn't that. It was just that I didn't want to do it because I was like, in my mind, I didn't want to be put in a box of like a Christian creative or a Christian filmmaker. Because to me, at the time, it felt like a limitation. So I really didn't want to go, but I was like, not naive to the fact that God moves in your life. And like, if God wants me to work there, like, that's the best thing for me to do. I am in agreement with that. So I'm like, let me go see, can't hurt. Go to the church, meet the pastor, meet his wife. Come to find out, they've been looking for someone exactly like me to be their media director. They tell me to apply. I apply, but in my mind, I'm already plotting like running off to California so I can go get on a movie set and get experience, But I'm like, let me try this out. what's the worst that could happen? Maybe they'll just not hire me and then I won't have to worry about it. But they ended up, I had 2 interviews, got hired. And now at 22 years old, fresh out of college, 2 months out, I am hired as the head of media for a church, a pretty respectable church, you know? And I didn't even want, I didn't, going into it, I did not want to do that at all. But at the same time, I was like, I can't deny the fact that like, I'm 22 years old and I'm the head of an entire department. I'm not just an editor on some team. I didn't go to California and just become a PA on some set. I'm the head of media for an entire company. So I'm like, at the very least, this will be on my resume as, you know, something high that shows that I can handle a lot. And you get the picture. So here I am doing that. And at first it was very daunting. I felt like I had to prove myself. I was the youngest person on the staff by about a 30-year difference. And I just had to get my bearings, get my lay of the land, things like that. After about 6 months, I had everything down pat. And I was like, okay, yeah, so I want to make movies. That's my passion. Like, but I felt like God did want me to be there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get what I can get, learn everything I can, do this job to the best of my ability. And then hopefully like an opportunity to do a movie will come along. In the meantime, I'm gonna just stay faithful to this. So at the time I was on Instagram one day and I seen this thing called Influence Me. And it was a reality TV show for creatives and people like me. And I did it, got into it, raised a whole bunch of money that went to these people. And then I got cut in the last round. I was super upset because I felt like this was God, like giving me my next step. Like, oh, I'm about to go on this reality show. I'm going to get recognition and then I'm going to be able to make a movie and like break into the industry. But I got cut. So I was upset. And then come to find out the whole show was a scam. So you might have heard about it, but that was like a few years ago. So I was upset and I was like, well, I'm back to square one. Yeah, I have a job and that's great. I'm working in media. I am editing videos every day. Like I'm getting paid to edit and come up with videos and stuff, but I'm not making films. I'm not doing what I want to do. And now I'm upset. My pastor noticed that. My pastor, who's also my boss, because I work at a church, and he was like, what's wrong? Like, you're not acting like yourself. And I was like, I just want to make movies, like respectfully, no shade. I don't want to be here. I feel like God wants me here. So I feel guilty about that. But to be honest, like I don't want to be here and I just want to go make films. So he was like, well, why don't we just make a film here? At the time, it was about March. And I was like, yeah, like, okay. But then I was faced with a new problem. I had done all this complaining. I want it so bad. And now I have the opportunity to make a film. But I had never made a film before. So I'm like, okay, all right. Like now I gotta, now I gotta connect everything and actually make it happen. Like the opportunity is here. It's in my lap. Never had I ever thought that the opportunity to make a film would come in this way, but that's how God works. That's the beauty of letting God lead your life. And if you think about it, if I had ran to California to jump on somebody else's movie, it would have been somebody else's movie, somebody else's ideas, somebody else's script. And at best, I probably would have been a PA. Now, here I am as the head of media at 22 years old, writing a script that's entirely my own. And I'm the leader of everything. I'm the director. I'm the producer. I am the project. I could have never imagined that that's what would come of my situation and my job, but that's how great God is. That's just a testament to how great God is. And I'm kind of like speeding through this story, but there are some very specific details that I'm going to do a separate video for and more so tell my testimony, because to explain all the details, you'll really be able to see how God orchestrates things, but I'm just trying to give you the short version because this video is mainly just to introduce the fact of who I am and what I did and how I can help you by sharing this information, to encourage other people to do it too. So now I'm like, he's like, make a movie. So now I'm like, okay, it's March. We can film the movie over summer because people are off of school, they're home, they're chilling, like it's easier than during the year when holidays and tests and school and all that is going on. So I'm like, this is perfect timing, but I don't have a script. Now, mind you, I've been walking around complaining I want to make a movie so bad, but don't have no scripts that I'm just sitting on, right? So I'm like, God, give me something, give me a story. Like what should I, because it's going to be a Christian film, which is funny because I didn't want to be a Christian filmmaker. But at the end of the day, I'm like, what better to make a movie about, especially in a world like today, than something that does have a backbone that points to God. Now, I was like, I'm not going to make a typical corny Christian movie, that's for sure. And I got to work on how to do that. Now, just real quick, the way I tackled that was I first thought of an interesting concept and then wove God into it after the fact. I did it even better, I think, with my film, my show, because that was my second project. But for my first film, I was like, okay, I need to do something that's interesting, but has God in it, but it's not corny, not like in your face, obvious. Like I have to be clever about this. So I came up with Paper Gems, and at first it was going to be called The Bridge. And then I think it was going to be, I can't remember the other names. I had a few other names for it before I settled on Paper Gems. And I basically started working on the script. Now, mind you, when I started, even when we started filming, my script wasn't done. And the actors had a lot to say about that, which I'll get into in the future when we go over funny stuff. But yeah, so I'm like, I need a script. So I start writing a script, and then I'm like, I need a team. So I called up like a few of my friends from college that, you know, were still in the area, and I kind of made up like a little group. And I was like, I need y'all to help me with the script. Like, let's put our brains together and let's come up with a story, which in the end, it ended up being like, I still wrote everything and came up with everything. But I think for me, it was like mentally having a team just made me feel more confident to do it. It was still all me because I don't think they didn't really know how to contribute. It was like, I was asking them to help me write this story, but like, they didn't really know what I wanted. So we would have Zoom calls and I would just like bounce my ideas off of them like a wall, and they would just kind of be like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Like, and no shade, you know, like I didn't know what to ask for. I just knew I needed help, and like they did try to help me. So it is what it is. But at the end, like the script pretty much was all me, and that's fine. But yeah, so I started coming up with the script, and then I was like, okay, I need to do things simultaneously. There's no way I'm going to be able to just like do one thing at a time and get things done, because my timeline was, if it's March right now, we can start by June at the tip of summer, film June, July, August, edit, have it out by like October. This is a very ambitious timeline, but mind you, this was my first time, right? So I'll tell you the real timeline later. But so yeah, so from March to June, I was working on my script, and then I started looking for actors. Now, another part of my testimony will be more details on how I got my actors, but long story short, I got my actors from backstage and also just promoting it at the church and on my social media. So we had auditions. Now, mind you, because the church is helping me, the church is a big building with many rooms. So we had the auditions at the church in the sanctuary, stage, video wall. We had branding, you know, that said, you know, Paper Gems, you know, branding. We had signage. I had support. So yes, I had somewhere to facilitate rehearsals. I had people on walkie-talkies. I had people at the front desk checking people in. Like, I kind of did everything I had already learned to do by working at the church, because through working at the church, I was sitting at the table with the staff of the church, and we're planning church events. And I learned like, okay, yeah, you need to have somebody at the door. You need to have a greeter. You need to have somebody check people in. Then you need to have somewhere for them to wait that's comfortable with some donuts and some snacks. Then we're going to move them to the connection hall, or our lobby. We call it our connection hall at the church. And then they're going to sit in the lobby with their number and their script, and they're going to read over the lines. And then I'm going to have someone float between the sanctuary where I'm at with my judges and the lobby where they're waiting, and pull people back one by one. So we set it up as professionally as we could for a bunch of amateurs, and we had auditions, and about over maybe 60 people came out. I remember doing a short film when I was in community college, because I got my associates first in TV, radio, and film, and then I went to Rowan University and got my bachelor's with a minor in creative writing. I had done a short film independently when I was in college, and we had auditions, and about 7 people came. So to see over 60 people come, and like they're serious, like tears in their eyes, like they want to be in a movie so bad, it was a great full circle moment for me. After having went through the previous situation, and like 6 people showed up. So we had our auditions, and I pretty much got everybody I needed. I had somebody for every role. We almost didn't turn anyone away, because there was a lot of characters. And then, like I said, the script wasn't even done. So I had people on standby that I wrote into the script because the story wasn't even done. So it was like, as I was writing the story, I was like, oh, I have this guy. He would fit this. Let me write him in. And like the story kind of came together with the live people in mind, which was cool. And it's funny because at the time people would be like, oh, your script's not done. I'm like, no, it's not done. And they're like, and this is your first movie. And I'm like, I get what you're thinking, but like, I was confident because I felt like God had brought me this far and I was on track with what he wanted. And I was sure that things were just going to come together. Maybe I was a little delusional, but I'm going to call it faith as well. And I was just like, it's going to come together. Like, I'm not worried about it, whatever. So we had the auditions. We let all the actors know that they had got their part. And I did have a contract that stated like, like you can't talk about what's going to happen in the film. You're not like making it clear, like there is no payment for this film. Like we are not paying the cast and crew, which I'll make another video getting into that because some people in the film community feel very strongly about that. But I'm just giving you the honest, hard facts on how I did it. These people knew up front that they weren't going to get paid for it, but they wanted an opportunity to be in a movie. They wanted to act. They wanted the chance, and they were willing to do it for free. It's not like we lied or snuck or did anything weird and stuff like that. So now I had my cast, and then I was like, I need a crew. So like I said, I was already working at the church, and part of my job at the church was building a media team that we could rely on for gathering media of church events, as well as being the crew for our live streams, because we know churches live stream their sermons. So I had already built up a media team of people that I had already trained how to use a camera. And I went to them and I said, hey, does anybody want to volunteer to be crew for a film? Some of them did. I also posted on Instagram and on Backstage that I was looking for crew and that they could come to the church on this date to meet me, hear about the opportunity, and decide if that's what they wanted to do. So we had like a crew call, same thing, had it at the church, had refreshments, had our equipment out for people to touch and see. And we were like, hey, we'll teach you how to make a movie in exchange for you being our crew. And again, we gave them a contract. We said it's not paid. If that's an issue, we totally understand. It's not a paid thing, but you can come at any age. You don't need a degree. You don't need prior experience. We will teach you as we film, and we're pretty much all just gonna go all in on this thing we've all never done before on faith, and we're just gonna do it. And the next thing you know, I had about 40 people who had some experience from me, some experience from school, and then some people who just thought it sounded fun, something to do for the summer. And it pretty much was like a film camp. It ended up being like a film workshop camp. And all summer long, we filmed Paper Gems. Now, some key things I did not do for Paper Gems, which I would advise against now that I've done it, is I did not have a shot list. I know. I did not have a storyboard. I pretty much just had the script. And like I keep saying, the script wasn't done. And we filmed by scene. So like even with my show that I did, Losing My Pride, last summer, I don't film in order. I don't think anybody does. I film by scene and I edit by scene. So we pretty much would just be like, okay, all the scenes we're shooting at the church, we're gonna shoot those like consecutively and just get everything at the church done. Then like all the scenes at this location, we're gonna shoot and get all that done. And we kind of did it out of order. I didn't have a script supervisor, so continuity was tough. And I think one of the biggest takeaways that I did learn is with Paper Gems, I did not delegate as much as I should have. I was teaching people how to use the camera. I was giving people opportunities to do things, but everything was really still me. Like I was the main person and I was expending all my energy trying to have them help and do things, but like not fully. I was still fully doing everything, but they were like helping. But for Losing My Pride, I made sure to take time before to really teach people like, hey, first of all, what are you interested in? Okay, now if you're interested in audio, here's some videos you can watch. Here's the equipment you're gonna be using. Research that a little bit. And this is what I expect of you. This is what I need from you. This is the do's and the don'ts. I took the time to do that for Losing My Pride because I didn't for Paper Gems. And it showed, because when I would turn my back and trust somebody to do something, they couldn't really be trusted, but not because they were incompetent. It's just because I wasn't slowing down. But like I said, this was my first film and I have testimonies from our premiere on my YouTube page. So yeah, you can actually watch the testimonies and the recollection of the people who are on our crew and our cast on my YouTube channel. So I'll tag those videos in the caption as well. But yeah, so there I was. filming a movie that summer with a cast and crew that I built of a whole bunch of amateurs mixed with some people that I know, people from the church. It was a huge learning experience, not just for them, but also for me. And we filmed from June till September. So it did go longer than I expected, as expected. And then I actually went on a trip to Israel, which is something really cool that I did that I'm gonna make a video about. I have so many videos to make. And then I came back, and then we had to do a few reshoots because me and my pastor didn't agree on some things. And then we had to do a bunch of ADR because we had this one scene that was shot in a hospital that we lost all the audio for, and we had to completely ADR the entire scene. And because my actors weren't being paid and all that, I was like, I'm gonna go to them. I'm not gonna make them come to me. You know, production wrapped. We were supposed to be done needing them to come out to things. So me and my assistant at the time, we went to each and every one of their houses and got them to dub over their audio one by one. So after all that, it was time for me to edit. Now, in retrospect, I definitely should have been editing as I shot, and I should have been organizing files as I was shooting. That was another huge no-no that I think there was so much on my plate, so much on my shoulders. I could not handle going through the footage at the same time. Like I just shot everything and then put it on a drive and then deleted it and went and shot again because I had to. And that's another thing. It was so much files. Like the files were huge because I was filming in Blackmagic Raw 4K because I wanted super high quality because I was like, I'm an amateur. Like if nothing else, if the audio's not good, the acting's not good, the writing's not good, if nothing else, it has to look dang good. So we were filming in Raw, Blackmagic, uncompressed, 4K. To this day, I have this baggie full of hard drives because there was so much footage and I had to split it across all these hard drives and I wasn't doing organization. And then another huge no-no that I did with Paper Gems is we recorded the audio separate. So I had an audio mixer that had an SD card in it with the audio on it, and then we had the film. So I had to link up every single clip with its audio before I could even edit. Again, another huge no-no. I made so many mistakes, but at the same time, there's no better way to learn. Like literally, there's no better way to learn. I kick myself every day because I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now throughout that process. Like I should have been coming home after every day and setting up a camera and talking about what I went through. But I was going through so much and there was so much on my plate and I was so drained when I would come home that I was just like, I'm gonna have to just do this later. So now here I am at 26, finally sitting down and telling you what I went through back when I was 22, going through all of this. And then, like I keep saying, I did a show last summer. And again, I did a little better because we did film a BTS documentary of filming the show, which you guys will see in the future when it drops. But yeah, I was like, I just spent all day directing people because mind you, the crew was amateur. It's not like I'm dealing with a bunch of people who went to film school and know what to do and they can just do their job. Like I still have to like, hey, are you good? You know what you need to do? Okay, good. Like you're good. This is how you use the camera. Oh, you don't remember how to set up the stabilizer? Let me show you how to set up the stabilizer. Oh, the audio's not working. Okay, let me come check it. Like I wasn't dealing with professionals. So yes, it was a blessing to get people to help me and come alongside me who I wasn't paying in actuality. But at the same time, with that comes a lack of experience, a lack of know-how. And I was using all my energy to keep everybody afloat and to keep everything moving. And like, it was just a huge weight, but it was also the best experience because I pulled it off. Like I did it, we did it, you know? And how like, even I would lay in bed at night, like, this is really happening. Like, and I credit it to nothing other than God. Like, yeah, I'm pretty cool. I have the ability to facilitate and lead people, but that comes from God too, you know? The fact that people showed up, people, we were working 8 hours, like we were going into the night. Like we would start at 5 and then like be done at 3 a.m. and people were loving it. And I'm just like, how is this happening? And like, it was like, so I understand other filmmakers being like, how can I film a movie without $50,000 to pay all these people and without all this equipment and all this stuff? And I thought the same thing. And then here I was like doing it. this is how it happened. This is how it came to be. And like I said, the testimonies of the cast and crew are on my channel. You can hear from them yourself, how they felt about it, why they agreed to do it, and everything like that. But yeah, so we finished filming. It was time for post. And then I had to sit down and I had to label every single clip. I didn't have a script supervisor, so I didn't have notes like, hey, this shot was the best. This shot was terrible. Again, a no-no. When I did Losing My Pride, I had a script supervisor. If you're gonna shoot a film, you need a script supervisor. It will make your life way easier. Also, for Losing My Pride, I filmed with the audio in camera. I learned my lesson. Never again will I film audio separate. Maybe as a backup, but not like officially. But yeah, I learned things. What can you do? That's how it happens. So it took me about, well, let me think. We stopped filming in October and our premiere was in July. So from October to July, I was editing. It was me and my assistant. We edited he more so helped with like fixing things. Like if there was a mirror reflection, he would take it out. He was better with After Effects than me, but I'm like super fluent in Premiere. So I edited everything. He did the credits. He did an amazing job. His name's Ben. He did the credits, the animated credits. He did some VFX stuff, helped us remove license plates, remove reflections. Somebody who was on our band, someone who's on our worship band, who also does audio, he cleaned our audio for us. So he's the one who like mastered the audio, cleaned it up, tried to get it as clean as he could. And mind you, we're not professional audio people. I'm not even professional audio. So I'm teaching the audio person what I know, which is barely anything. So the audio wasn't the best, but we did have a good mic because I was able to order all the equipment I needed with the church's money because they backed me up. We had a good mic, a good boom pole. We had we did what we could. We had a mixer. Somebody on my crew who was another filmmaker, his name is John Demiri. He makes his own films too. Great guy, super appreciative of him. He lent me his audio mixer, his audio recorder, and his body rig. So a lot of the moving shots in Paper Gems, he wore like a body harness with an arm, and he let me borrow that for my movie. So it was really just a bunch of people with the same interest and creativity and passion who came together. We helped each other out. We shared equipment, we shared knowledge, and we made a stinking movie. And then in July, we had our premiere. So the church, they helped me rent out a movie theater. Getting the movie to play in the movie theater is a whole nother video I'm gonna have to make because there's just so many little stories and about where God really stepped up, where I really messed up, and just funny stuff that happened. But we had to figure out how to show the film in a movie theater because the guy at the movies was like, nobody's done this. Like, I've never had someone want to show their film here. So we had to figure out how to connect our laptop to the projector, which we did. But that, like I said, that's a whole nother story that I will make in a separate video. I can't give out too much in one video because I don't know, it's just so much to touch on. But we rented out a movie theater, showed it. We had 3 theaters sold out. We did Eventbrite tickets. We sold tickets at the church. Because mind you, a church has a congregation. So every Sunday, about 1,000 people are in and out of the building. We promote it to them. That's 1,000 people right there. Plus social media, mine and the churches, everyone on the crew promoting it, everyone on the cast promoting it. It was just such a community thing. And people were proud, my church is doing a film and I'm in this film, and I filmed at my house. I filmed at a local hospital. We filmed at a local diner. We filmed around our community. So it was the people were involved. The town was involved. And then when people watch it now, they're like, I live there. That's where I go eat breakfast. So it's just, there's so many different little cute, little nice little connections that were made and that happened that allowed this to be successful and for this to happen. We had a red carpet. I developed another media team because I had been posting about the fact that I was making a movie, and that garnered me attention. So people were like, oh, if you do another movie, I want to be on your crew. So some of those people, I was like, hey, I am going to do another movie in the future, but for now I'm doing a premiere. Are you interested in coming and being paparazzi for that premiere and getting involved? And they were like, yeah. So I had people volunteer to come and be paparazzi for my premiere. So we had, I just really wanted the cast and crew to feel feel proud and to feel the celebration of our accomplishment, because this was no small accomplishment. And another thing is, like I said, it was the crew too. It wasn't just the cast that walked the red carpet, it was the crew as well. And I'm like, I don't know if Hollywood does that. I don't really follow like red carpet media and all that, but I was like, because I'm crew, I want crew to get just as much honor and recognition as the cast, because without the crew, there would be no movie. People love to idolize actors, and what's happening with my focus? But yeah, so that was another thing I thought was pretty unique, is like we honored the cast and the crew. I wanted my crew to get just as much honor and recognition for their accomplishment as the cast, because we idolize the cast, we see the cast, we know their names, whatever. But without the crew, ain't nothing happening. So I'm like, my cast and my crew are gonna walk that red carpet, they're gonna get their paparazzi pictures, and they're gonna do interviews, which are the testimonies you can watch now of how they felt about doing Paper Gems, how they felt about the whole thing. The premiere was amazing. And just a quick little funny story is, you know, my parents, they support everything that I do. My dad does 3D animation. He has his own YouTube channel, actually, that I'll tag below. But my mom and dad, I'm blessed to have parents that get it. They get the creative stuff. And, you know, they always supported that. But even that being said, they told me later that they were kind of nervous going to the premiere, because they were like, you know, it's great that you're confident and everything, but this is your first film. And like, if it does flop, like, we're prepared to comfort you if it sucks, because it probably will suck. It's your first film, you know, you don't know what you're doing, but we still love the fact that you did it and all that. So they were kind of nervous going in, but after the movie was done and like everyone came out of the theaters to reconvene in the lobby and like talk, the excitement and the energy, it was the best day of my life. Like, the movie was good, y'all. Like, the movie was good. Like, everybody came out like, oh my gosh, it was so good. And I wasn't, they were like, no offense. And I'm like, I'm not even offended, because I'm not gonna say I knew, like, I was very confident that the movie was gonna be good, because like I said, I felt like God had his hand on me through the whole thing. But, you know, I'm biased, is my thing. So to come out of the movie theater and see the looks on people's faces, the looks on the cast's face, because like I said, some of the cast did doubt me. You know, they were like, the script's not even done. This is her first film. Like, I don't know how it's gonna go. But the look on their faces when they came out, they were like, it was good. Like, it was good. And even now when I watch it, I made it 3 years ago. So I just see all my mistakes. I can't ignore it. It's kind of hard for me to watch now. And even if you go watch it, keep in mind, it was 3 years ago, okay? I'm better now. The day we said that's a wrap on Paper Gems, I was better than I was when I was filming it. So even my show, Losing My Pride, that's gonna come out this year, I made that last summer. I'm better now. But your work, movies take a long time to finish and put out. So by the time a movie comes out, you're already way ahead in skill. And people are seeing your work from the past, and they tend to be like, oh, you could have did this, you could have did that. And 9 times out of 10, you already know, but I'm still here for the criticism, you know, but just keep in mind that I know it's 3 years old. But for an amateur who never did a movie before, I've never even been on someone else's set, you know, I've never even been a PA on someone else's film. I hopped off the bench and did a stinking movie with a bunch of amateurs, support from my church, faith in God, support from my parents, my family, my community, and we did the dang thing. That's all I can really say. And it was just the best day of my life. And then I figured out how to get it distributed. So again, I will make a video about that. I'll tell you how I got it distributed, how I figured out how to get it done, what I had to do, how much it costs, all that. But long story short for today, I got it distributed. I got my copyright from the government for it, submitted it to Film Hub, got it on Tubi. It's also on a bunch of other platforms, but they're not as known. So I'm not gonna share them specifically, but you can definitely go watch it for free on Tubi. That is how I did a movie. And the last thing I'm gonna say is the movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes. Now, when I was in college, they told me that a page of a script is a minute. So I did the math and I'm like, okay, based on the amount of pages I have, my movie should be like 1 hour and 45 minutes. No, it came out to 2 hours and 40 minutes. Very long. Now, a lot of people, I'm like, be honest, did it feel long? And they're like, it didn't really feel that long. Like, it was very interesting. Like, I was intrigued. So I'm like, cool. But it was super long. it being super long is impressive because usually it's hard for people to do long. And for me, it's actually hard to write shorts. I'm so used to writing long content that like when I sit down to write a short, I'm like, I gotta work on that. But it was impressive in that sense. But like when it came to submitting to film festivals, it's too long for like every film festival. Like I can't submit it anywhere. So that's also a little tip. Like if you're gonna make a film and you wanna be ambitious and make a feature, just pay attention if you're gonna submit to film festivals, like what the time limit is, because then you can't submit. But yeah, y'all, that's the story. That's the short story. There's so many little caveats and stories within that I want to tell that are funny, very learnable moments, and I will make separate videos for that. Having heard the long story short, go ahead and leave comments on like anything you want to hear more in depth about, any questions you have, what you think, how you feel, whatever. And like I said, this is just episode 1. This is the overall kind of introduction into what I did, what I was able to accomplish, and who I am. And now that I have done my movie and I did my show, which hasn't come out yet, but it will be coming out this year at some point. I'm in post-production for it right now. I just kind of want to like backtrack a little bit and share my experiences with the world before I get too far along and I can't remember these things. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it was interesting and enlightening. And like I said, let me know what you want to hear more about, any more details you would like to know. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Christianity Yvonne. My production Instagram page is Losing My Pride, the series. I post all of our BTS on there, interviews from the cast and crew, snippets from the show so you can get a sneak peek. And if you scroll down really far, all the Paper Gems BTS is on there, because I was like, I don't want to make a separate page every time I have a project. I kind of want to just keep changing the name of my page. Or maybe I'll just make a production page like Christianity Yvonne Productions. But I kind of like having a page that the name is the name of my latest project. So that's something I'm still thinking about working out. But yeah, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it's Paper Gems. The account used to be called Paper Gems, the movie. Now it's called Losing My Pride, the series. And for my next short film that I'm working on already, the name will probably change to that. And that's just my strategy for right now. So everything is a learning curve. Everything is a learning experience, and I just can't wait to continue to share my journey with you guys. And hopefully as I catch up, I'll be able to share it live. Like as I'm going through these things, I'll start to be able to have the energy to record and tell you about it in real time. But until then, enjoy the BTS that I have attached to this video, because I did document, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Hi, my name is Christiana Arango, better known as Christianity Yvonne. Hi, my name is Christiana Arango,